we're going to talk about lawn care, and Lon's going to tell us how to do the pre-emergent.
Pre-emergent. So this is the time of year that you do the pre-emergent, and everyone's confused what pre-emergent actually means.
Thank you.
It's going to stop the seeds from germinating. Any seed is going to stop from germinating. So we put this down. It's got a mild fertilizer in it. So we do all of our raking and cleaning first, get it all cleaned up, and then this is perfect because we might have a little bit of snow coming. So we can put this down, and it actually has some fertilizer in it. It will help green everything up, and then it puts down a barrier so the seeds cannot germinate. So it's a pre-emergent before they pop. A lot of seeds are actual annuals. So they grow, they flower, they drop their seeds, and they come up from a seed again.
Oh, isn't that
It's
great?
not going to control a perennial dandelion, but it will control a dandelion coming up from the seed. So that's your pre-emergent. And then the next one we have is the post-emergent. So once the dandelions pop up all over the yard, and they call this post because the dandelions already come up, then we put this down on a wet surface, and we don't water for 24 hours. So it actually sticks to the weeds, kills everything but grass, keep everyone off of it until we get it watered in, and that's your post-emergent. And that one we don't do until you look out the window one morning and the whole yard is yellow.
Yes.
So then that's the post-emergent, but right now we're doing the pre-emergent about mid-April, and then this one we're gonna do in May sometime.
And is this all safe for animals, dogs?
Just keep everything, everyone off to get it watered in.
Okay.
Get this watered in, and then this one we have to keep everyone off for 24 hours and then water that in.
Okay.
Yep. So
All
there
right.
you go.
Is it good to aerate your yard?
Excellent to aerate.
Do you do the aeration before you do the?
Definitely before this one, and this one doesn't matter.
Okay.
So there again, why do we aerate here all the time? We don't dethatch anymore. There's no reason to dethatch. Thatching actually is good for the yard. It actually protects it. But back in the 50s, we always dethatch. We didn't aerate.
I see some people still doing that.
They still do that. So reason you want to aerate is you want to get oxygen down into the soil. So you pull those little plugs out, and then you top dress with peat moss, because those holes are going to close up. And if you get peat moss in the hole and then it closes up, you've amended the soil. Just
So
like in a vegetable
that
garden.
peat moss, I
that
now
piece.
put that over my lawn.
Fill in those little holes.
All
break
the
it.
little holes?
It fills in all those holes, and those holes close up, and then we're actually amending the soil.
Oh, okay.
That way, when we water or it's raining, the water actually absorbs into the soil and doesn't hit like the concrete because it bakes in the sun and then runs down to the road.
I've never done that with the
Nobody
lawn.
does. So you want to do that at least 3 or 4 times a year. Aerate. Water very, very heavily before you aerate, so it pulls the plugs. Top dress with some peat moss.
Okay.
And it's just improving your soil. You will save water. You'll cut your water bill in half, and your grass will still be just as green. If people would do that, and then we also have the Revive. It's a wetting agent. So if you put that down 3 or 4 times a year too, when we get those big heavy rains, you know how it is here.
Yes.
It's either 100 degrees or it's pouring rain, and it rains so hard that it hits that clay and it bounces off.
Yes.
So if you're aerating, top dressing with peat moss, and using your Revive, all that water is actually going to absorb down in, and then you will capture that water, and your water doesn't run off. The rainwater doesn't run off, and you've saved half as much water.
Yes.
And your grass is still just as green, half as much work. Who doesn't want that?
That's great.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you this: what are those little animals or something? Moles or?
Oh, your voles, the famous voles.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't have moles here.
Okay.
Moles don't have any sight. Ours do. They look like a little mouse.
Yeah.
If you actually saw him, he would look like a house mouse. He's a little bit faster, and he burrows under the ground. He loves to burrow under when we get snow cover, and then to make these little trails because he's eating the roots. So you can trap him with the mouse trap with some cheese. You can put out a bait, put down in the hole and bait them, and then you can do those smoke bombs in there too. You can put a smoke bomb in there and gas him out there. But they love fruit trees. They'll eat all the roots of the fruit tree. The wind will blow and your fruit tree will fall over. The snow melts in the springtime, and you've got trails all over the yard. They love to eat all the bark off of your junipers. You look out the window and half the juniper is dead. So yes, they're very pesky, and they're very secular. So depending when the weather is, and she can have 12 babies every 30 days.
So, well, she's very
So there you go. She's very busy. So
yes, she is.
But there's a lot of ways to control them. But they're voles, and they do have little eyes. They're not a mole because we
Okay.
don't have the moles here.
Okay.
But yeah,
Good to
they
know.
love the urban gardening. So all this work we're doing for them, just a heyday. It's a delicatessen.
Well, I'm
for them.
glad we can help them
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
Yes, okay. All right. Well, thank you.
You bet.